Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you and welcome back once again on the YouTube channel of Career Launcher. Now friends, today we are going to discuss the questions from the previous year paper questions, previous year papers of CAT examination of the topic which is considered as the most difficult topic when it comes to arithmetic by the students. It's difficult for me to understand why this topic is considered as difficult when you have covered the basics of percentages. You know each and every fundamental of percentages. You have also practiced the questions on profit, loss, and discount. So why the concept of simple interest and compound interest is considered difficult while handling these questions? So this is one thing that I'm unable to understand. Also, I am pretty sure that if you start looking at these questions of especially compound interest, if you start looking at these questions from the point of view of percentages or from the point of view of the concept of successive percentage change, then definitely you will be able to attempt these questions in a much easier way. So friends, I'm Gaurav Gupta and today we'll be discussing some of the questions which have appeared in the last few years of CAT examination from the topic of simple interest and compound interest. Now, before we'll start with this lecture, I want to confirm from all the students who are present right now in this session, am I clearly visible and audible to all of you? Please write yes in the chat box. Once again, like I request in every session, please show your presence by writing something in the chat box. So I wish all of you a very good afternoon, and I believe your preparation is going on the right track. All right, Shiva, Daksh, and Meghadri, all of you have confirmed. Wonderful. So now, all of you, those who are present in this session, now can you tell me what type of questions do bother you in simple interest and compound interest? Come on, tell me. Kasak, Sandeep, Shubhra, Meghadri, Daksh, Shiva, the students who have confirmed their presence. Can you tell me what kind of questions in simple interest and compound interest bother you? Come on. So if you can give me an idea, I can in the first 5 to 10 minutes, I can brief you about the concept that we can use to solve the questions of simple interest, compound interest. Now, meanwhile, you are writing something. Let's discuss a few things based on simple and compound interest. Now, obviously, as per if I look at the concept of simple or compound interest, we understand that we will have a lot of formulas based on that. I'll not call it lots of formulas, but if you look at the basic formula of simple interest and the basic formula of compound interest, so all of you must be aware of these formulas, right? Now, to begin with, if I look at the formula that we use in case of compound interest, obviously, I'm not teaching you the basics. I'm not teaching you what are the different terminologies that we use in simple and compound interest. So let's directly jump to one of the formulas of compound interest. Now, compound interest is amount is equal to principal bracket 1 plus rate of interest upon 100 and raised to the power n. Okay. Now, all of us must understand the applicability of this formula. Amount is the final value, right? So if I will compare each of these terms with the terms that we have used in percentages, so amount is the final value, principal is the initial value, right? Now this initial value when increased by R percentage, so every year the value is increased by R percentage, and N is the number of times the value is increased by R percentage, right? Now, to solve every question of compound interest, you can use the concept of successive percentage change, or you can use the simple concept of percentage increase or percentage decrease that we have covered in percentages, right? So all of us must be aware of all these basic ways of solving the questions. Questions of percentage change, successive percentage change, what is the formula of successive percentage change, how this formula is applicable to the questions of compound interest. Now, basically, I can say that compound interest is successive percentage change, right? So, let's say if I take a problem, principal is 2000 and the rate of interest is 15 percentage per annum, right? And interest is compounded annually, right? So the question is, what will be the interest accumulated in 2 years, or what is the interest accumulated in 3 years, and so on, right? So now to solve every question of compound interest, what you can do is, instead of directly using this formula, you can say that the interest in the first year will be 15 percentage of 2000, right? I can write this number 15 percentage of 2000. Now what will be 15 percentage of 2000? 15 percentage of 2000 will be 300. All right, so 300 will be the interest in the first year, right? Now to calculate the interest of second year, please listen to whatever I'm saying. To calculate the interest of second year, what you can do is you can copy the interest of previous year, that is 300, and then give interest on the interest of previous year at a rate of 15 percentage per annum at the same rate. I will repeat, to calculate the interest of second year, you can first of all copy the interest of the previous year. And then you can give the interest on the interest of previous year at 15 percentage per annum. Okay. So 15 percentage of 300, 15 percentage of 300 will be equal to 45. So the total interest of second year will be 300 plus 45, that is 345. All right. So now if you want to calculate the total accumulated interest up till the second year, so it will be the interest of first year plus the interest of second year, 300 plus 345, that is 645. All right, this is one thing. Now next, let's say further, if you want to calculate the interest of the third year. So interest of third year will be, copy the interest of previous year, that is 345, and give the interest on the interest of the previous year at a rate of 15 percentage per annum, right? Now 345, what will be 15 percentage of this number? So I'll calculate 15 percentage. So पहले 10 percentage calculate कर लेते हैं, 34.5, and then 5 percentage, it will be 17.25. So 34 plus 17 is 51.75. So 51.75 will be the extra interest that we will get. All right, fine. So the total interest will be of 3 years. Sorry, the total interest of the third year will be 345 plus 51.75. So that is 396.75 will be the total interest of third year. Okay. So now if you want to calculate the entire interest which is accumulated in 3 years, so what you can do is you can add these numbers 300, 345 and 396.75. So this is how you can handle most of the questions of compound interest, right? Okay. Now, other than using the formula, yes, you can use the formula, but there may be some cases when it will be difficult to use the formula. So if you understand this particular logic, then things will become a little easier for you to handle. All right, fine. So this is the basic of compound interest that can be used almost in every question of compound interest. Okay, so let's move on and look at the first question that we will be solving for the day. So question number 1 on your screen, it comes from CAT 2023 slot number 1. CAT 2023 slot number 1, the first question of the day. I will give you 2 minutes to understand, to solve this question, and then I'll tell you how to handle such questions. Okay, so let me read out the question for you. Meanwhile, some of the students can definitely solve this and answer. Now, Anil invests rupees 22,000 for 6 years in a certain scheme with 4% interest per annum, compounded half yearly. So I'll be telling you what all changes will happen when we are looking at the formula of compound interest when the interest is compounded half yearly. Okay. So Anil invested 22,000, 6 years, 4% interest per annum, compounded half yearly. Important things. Sunil invested in the same scheme for 5 years. Now, since they have mentioned the same scheme, so the rate of interest will be same, that is 4% per annum, and it will again be compounded half yearly, right? But Sunil invested in the same scheme for only 5 years. And then he reinvests the entire amount received at the end of 5 years for one more year at a rate of 10% simple interest. Okay. Now the question further says that if the amounts received by both at the end of 6 years are same amounts, that means the final values. If the amount received by them at the end of 6 years are same, then the initial investment made by Sunil in rupees is how much? Okay. Now, when you read this question, there are lots of things. You think that there are lots of things which are given in this question. Okay, but you must handle each and everything, every part separately. Okay, so first of all, understand what is happening with Anil, the first person, and then consider the second person. The second person, things are happening in two stages for the second person. So for the first 5 years and then for the next 1 year. So again, handle them one by one and then tell me what will be the initial investment made by Sunil in rupees. I'll give you 2 minutes for this. Now, do not worry about this question. I understand that this question is slightly difficult. Even if it is not difficult, but it looks difficult. ठीक है? Calculation भी थोड़ी अजीब लगेंगी. I will teach you, I'll tell you how to handle each and everything. Okay? I'll try to make things look easy for you so that you should be able to understand and then replicate the same thing in the examination. Timothy Samuel, the first person who has given the answer, to 20,808. Okay, nice. So Timothy, will see if this is correct or not. Also, the most important thing here is the method that we are using. All right. So we'll also have a look at the method with the answer. So you have another 1 minute to look at this question, all of you, and then I'll start with the discussion. Now, Astha has given an answer. Meanwhile, Timothy has given an explanation. And I would say that that is the perfect explanation, the perfect way of doing this question. Good, very good. Astha, tell me, did you use a similar method that is explained by Timothy? All right, friends. So let's get into the discussion of this one. Okay. Now, if I take you back and if I discuss the formula of compound interest, it says amount is equal to principal bracket 1 plus rate of interest upon 100 and raised to the power n. Okay. Now, let us understand in detail what R is. Now, R is the rate of interest per annum for the entire year. Okay. And what N is? N is generally the number of years, but it is like in a better way, n is the total number of ways the calculation is done, or the total number of time periods. All right. So if the interest is compounded annually, okay, let's say the value of r is 10 percentage per annum and the number of years is 4 years. If the interest is compounded annually, then in the above formula, we will substitute the value of r as 10 and the value of n as 4 if the interest is compounded annually. Now, if the interest is compounded half yearly, all right, if the interest is compounded half yearly, now understand what all changes need to be done in the above formula. Okay, logic behind those changes. It's not that you will cram it and then at the time of examination, if you'll forget it, then you will suffer at that time. No, let's understand. Now, what do we mean by compounded half yearly? Compounded half yearly means calculated half yearly. All right. So that means earlier when the calculations were done at the end of 1 year, now the calculations will be done at the end of half year or 6 months. Okay. Now, since we are doing calculation after 6 months, so I would require the rate of interest for 6 months. So the value of R that I'll be putting in the above formula should be, yes, you can write, you can tell me what will be the value of R that I'll be substituting, as well as the value of N that I will be substituting if the interest is compounded half yearly. Okay, meanwhile, I'll explain. So rate of interest 10% was given for one entire year, right? Now, since I am compounding half yearly, I will require the rate of interest for half year. So 1 year, the rate of interest was 10%, half year, it will be half of that. That means 5%. All right. So the value of R that will be substituting in the above formula will be 5. Also, let's talk about the value of N. Now, earlier when the calculations were done after 1 year, so in a 4-year period, the calculations will happen after every year. That means 4 times. So that is why the power was 4. But in this case, if it is compounded half yearly, if the interest is compounded half yearly, the calculations will be done at the end of 6 months. So in the period of 4 years, the calculation will be done a total of 8 times. So the value of N will be equal to 8, right? I hope I'm clear with these numbers. Okay. So now in our question, first of all, if I talk about Anil, Anil invests rupees 22,000 for 6 years in a certain scheme with 4% interest per annum, and it is compounded half yearly, right? So I can say that amount for Anil at the end of 6 years will be the principal, that is 22,000, bracket 1 plus. Now in this, what will be the rate of interest? The rate of interest for 1 year is 4%. So for 6 months, it will be 2. So 2 upon 100. And what will be the power? 6 years, the interest is calculated after every half a year. So in 6 years, the number of periods of half year each will be 12. All right. So this is for Anil, the final amount, right? It is very easy to write this thing. Now let's talk about Sunil. Now for Sunil, the final amount will be equal to, so Sunil invests this in the same scheme, but we don't know how much money Sunil is investing. So let's say the initial investment of Sunil is X rupees, right? So principal for Sunil is X. So principal bracket 1 plus rate of interest upon 100, because the scheme is same, but he invested for 5 years. So that is why the power will be 10. Okay. So after 5 years, the amount that Sunil will have will be equal to the amount that I have written on the screen, X bracket 1 plus 2 upon 100 power 10. Okay. But what Sunil did was, Sunil reinvested the entire amount. So this entire amount is reinvested by Sunil for 1 year, and it increased by 10%. Okay. So a 10% increase, the value will become 1.1 times the original value, right? So this money will be invested. So after 6 years, the amount that Sunil will have, the total money that Sunil will have will be the amount after 5 years multiplied by 1.1. So this will be the final money of Sunil. Now, according to question, both of them are equal. Okay. So amount with Anil, that is 22,000 bracket 1.02 power 12, and that is equal to x bracket 1.02 power 10 multiplied by 1.1. Okay. Now 1.2 raised to the power 10 will get cancelled out from both the sides. Okay. So I will have 22,000 multiplied by 1.02 square is equal to x multiplied by 1.1. I can take 1.1 on the left hand side and I will divide it. Okay. Now simplifying, you can find out the value of x. Okay. So 22,000 divided by 1.1 will be 20,000. 22,000 divided by 1.1 is 20,000 multiplied by 1.02 multiplied by 1.02. Okay. Now 1.02, you can write it as 102 upon 100, 102 upon 100. 100 and 100 will cancel. Okay. Right. So 102 into 102 into 2, the answer comes out to be 20,808. The correct answer is given by 3 students up till now. So earlier it was Timothy, then Astha, and then Sandeep. Sandeep, you have also given a correct answer. Okay. Now, the answer is not important right now. It's the process that is important. It's the understanding of this process that is important. All right. So I hope you have understood what I have done. So I have treated Anil and Sunil separately. For Sunil also for the first 5 years and then another 1 year separately. All right. Then equations. Once you have made this equation, once you have written these relations, then it will be very easy for you to get the final answer. Okay. So that is question number 1. Let's look at our next question from CAT 2023 once again, but slot number 2. So you can see that every year we are getting at least one question in every slot. Okay. Now, once again, we have Anil here. So they changed the question, but the person is same. So Anil borrows rupees 2 lakhs at an interest rate of 8% per annum, compounded half yearly. He repays rupees 10,320 at the end of first year and closes the loan by paying the outstanding amount at the end of third year. Then the total interest in rupees paid over 3 years is nearest to which of the following options? So now this time you are given options, okay, and you'll have to find out the total interest in rupees paid over the 3 years is nearest to. Okay, so that means it might be possible the answer will not be a natural number, it may be in terms of decimals, and you will have to find out the approximate value, the rounded off answer, and you will have to match among the 4 options. Okay, so question number 2, I'm giving you 2 minutes to solve this. Timothy, Astha, and Sandeep, my expectation from you have increased. So I want an answer at least from 3 of you, as well as the other students who are there in this session. So Shiva, Daksh, Meghadri, Shubhra, Kasak, are you able to understand the explanation that I have given for the previous question up till now? The other students whose name I have not taken, you can also tell me if you are able to understand, yes or no. Please give me a thumbs up, please give me a yes, or please do acknowledge by writing something in the chat box. Thank you, Shubhra. Thank you. All right, Daksh, Shiva, Meghadri, thank you for confirmation. Other students as well, come on, you can tell me if you are able to understand this or not. So Astha, the first one to give an answer, 40,991. All right, very good. Daksh says it is 51,331. Timothy also says that the answer is 51,331. Okay, a few more seconds and then we'll start with the discussion. Okay. Now, for a few moments, I'll take you back to the rough work that I've done for the previous question. Now, in the previous question, I have used the formula. Okay, I've used the formula for the final amount. The power was 12, the power was 10. And you must have realized that we don't actually have to solve 1.02 power 12 and 1.02 power 10 because it will get cancelled out on both the sides. Okay, so actually the solving was not required, right? Now in this case, you will realize that nothing like that, like the way the powers got cancelled out in the first question, nothing like that will happen in the second question. Okay, so if you will calculate the final amount using direct formula, so you might have power 2 or power 4 in this question. Now power 2 is still manageable to calculate, but power 4, it's slightly difficult. Okay, right? So now let's see how to manage this question without actually doing the final calculations. Now listen to these words carefully. Daksh, Timothy, Sandeep, Astha, all of you listen to this particular thing very carefully. How I'll be able to mark an answer without actually calculating the final answer. Okay, let's have a look at it. Anil borrows 2 lakhs at an interest rate of 8% per annum, compounded half yearly, and he repays 10,320 at the end of first year. So something he's repaying at the end of first year. So let's understand what will be the interest in the first year and the total amount at the end of first year. So he started with 2 lakhs. I'll be writing each and everything. Okay. Now, since it is compounded half yearly, for the first 6 months, the rate of interest will be 4%. And then again, for the next 6 months, it will be 4%, right? And it is a compound interest. So for the first period of 6 months, the interest will be 4% of 2 lakhs. 4% of 2 lakhs, that will be 8,000, right? For the second period of 6 months, the interest will be 8,000 copied from the previous period, like I explained at the beginning. So 8,000 copied, and then interest will be levied on this interest of previous year at 4% at the same rate. So 4% of 8,000 will be 320. So for the second period of 6 months, the total interest will be 8,320. So now I can say that for the first year, the total interest will be 8,000 plus 8,320. That is 16,320. Right? Fine. Now, which will be added to the principal of 2 lakhs? I'm writing each and everything. You don't need to write all these things. So, the total amount at the end of first year will be 2,16,320. Right? So, the total amount at the end of first year is 2,16,320, and he's making a payment of 10,320 at the end of first year. Okay, so the remaining part of the loan will be equal to 2,06,000, right? And this is at the end of first year or at the beginning of second year. Do you all understand this thing? Yes or no? Perfect. Okay. So up till now, the interest that he has paid, or the interest that it is like that is accumulated, is 16,320. Up till now, the interest is 16,320. Now he closes the loan by paying the outstanding amount at the end of third year. So third year के बाद उसने अपना सारा का सारा लोन रीपे कर दिया. Okay, he closed the loan by paying the total outstanding amount. Right? Fine. Now in this question, what we have to calculate is the total interest in rupees over the 3-year period that he has paid. Listen carefully, huh? Up till now, he has paid 16,320 in the interest, right? Now, the principal for the next 2 years is 2,06,000, right? 2,06,000. Now he will be paying 4% interest, 4% compounded annually. Okay, so there will be 4 time periods. There will be further 4 time periods for which we'll have to calculate the interest. Okay, now all of you, the rate of interest is 4% for the 6 months. Now what will be 4% of 2,06,000? Can I say that 4% of 2,06,000 will be more than 8,000? Yes or no? Pragati, Timothy, others, can I say that 4% of this value will be more than 8,000? So in each of these periods of 6 months, he will definitely be paying more than 8,000 rupees as the interest. So the interest generated will be definitely more than 8,000, right? So the interest generated in these 4 periods of 6 months, or I can say that in this 2-year period, will be 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, more than 32,000, right? Definitely more than 32,000, right? So now in these 2 years, the interest accumulated is more than 32,000. Earlier, he has paid an interest of 16,000. So 32,000 and 16,000. The answer should be definitely more than 48,000. Right? I'll repeat. In these 2 years, the interest accumulated will be more than 32,000. And earlier, he has paid an interest of 16,320. So I'm not doing the exact calculations. I can say that the total interest that he has paid over this 3-year period will be 32,000 and 16,000, that is 48,000. So the answer has to be more than 48,000. There are 3 options which are less than 48,000. There is only one option that is more than 48,000, and you can safely mark this option as the answer, right? Now, if we'll go for the actual calculations, then the calculations will be slightly tough. Okay, it will require calculator, right? And yes, you do have calculator in the CAT examination using which you can find out the exact answer. But like even if you will feed these values in the calculator, you will take more amount of time as compared to the time that I have taken to solve this question. All right. So this is like simple logic using which you can mark among the options, or you can just have an estimate of your final answer. Okay. All right. So friends, that was question number 2. I hope you would have understood the method that I have used to mark the answer, to mark the correct answer of this question. So that was CAT 2023 slot number 2. Now let's move on and look at the next question, question number 3, and it comes from CAT 2022 slot number 1. Now this is comparatively easier question as compared to the first 2 questions. Very easy question, in fact. So all the students who are present right now in this session, expectation is from all of you to give me an answer for this one. The question says that Alex invested his savings in 2 parts. Simple interest, simple question. The simple interest earned on the first part at 15% per annum for 4 years is same as the simple interest earned on the second part at 12% per annum for 3 years. Then the percentage of the savings invested in the first part is how much? And Timothy is already there with the answer. Very good, wonderful. Shubhra, nice, very good. Come on, other students. This one, like, you will not get an easier question than this in CAT examination. Good, Sandeep, Meghadri. So we are good to start with the explanation. So Alex invested his savings in 2 parts. Let's say A is the first part and B is the second part. Okay, simple interest earned on the first part at 15% per annum for 4 years. Now, simple interest in this case, every time the interest is calculated on the original value. So in the first year, he will get 15% of the principal. In the second year, he will get 15% of the principal, and so on. So I can say that in 4 years, if the rate of interest is 15% per annum, 15 multiplied by 4, that is 60%. So the total simple interest of the 4 years will be 60% of the money invested. Okay, right? 15% per annum for 4 years, 15 multiplied by 4 is 60. So yes, you can say that the simple interest earned on the first part will be 60% of the first part, right? Similarly, simple interest earned on the second part will be 12% multiplied by 3. That is 36% of the second part. And in the question, the simple interest are given to be equal. The final amount is not equal. It's the interest which is equal. So using this equation, you can find out the ratio of A and B. So the ratio of A and B will be 36 upon 60 or 3 upon 5. Okay, so the ratio in which the investments are made is 3:5. Now you'll have to find out the percentage of his savings invested in the first part. So in the first part, he has invested 3 out of a total sum of 3 plus 5, that is 8. So in the first part, he has invested 3 by 8 of the total investment, which is in terms of percentage equal to 37.5%. All right. So yes, correct answer is option B, and plenty of you have given a correct answer. That's nice. Good. So let's move on and look at the next question very quickly. Question number 4. This one is also easy because this is also a question of simple interest. CAT 2022 slot number 2. So we can observe that the questions of CAT 2022 were comparatively easier as compared to CAT 2023. Yes, the overall level of difficulty of CAT 2023, yes, it was higher as compared to CAT 2022. I mean, you can say this particular thing, especially for the section of quantitative ability. Nice. I am getting the answers from some students now. One answer already. Daksh, very good. The question is very simple. What we can do is we can make our calculations look even simpler so that we will take lesser amount of time to handle the calculations that we have. All right. Now look at this question. Mr. Pinto invests 1/5 of his capital at 6%, 1/3 at 10%, and the remaining at 1%, each rate being simple interest per annum. Okay, simple interest, no problem at all. Then the minimum number of years required for the cumulative interest income from these investments to equal or exceed his initial capital. Okay, so basically we'll have to find out how much time it will take for the interest income to be equal to or exceed the initial investment that he has made. ठीक है, कितने साल बाद the total interest income will be equal to or it will exceed the initial capital. Okay, and we'll have to find out the minimum number of years. So earliest, when will this happen? Now look at the first statement. 1/5 of his capital, 1/3 of his capital, and then the remaining. 1/5, 1/3. So 1/5 किया है, 1/3 किया है. So it will be better to assume the total investment which is completely divisible by 5 and 3, right? 5 and 3 से investment divide हो जाए. So it will be better if you'll assume the total investment as 15x or 150x or any multiple of 15 for that matter, right? So I'll assume the total investment as 15x, right? You can assume it as 150x as well, right? Okay, so of his capital first of all, so 1/5, that means 3x, then 1/3 of the capital, that means 5x, and then the remaining. So 3x and 5x is 8x, so remaining is 7x. Okay, now we are asking, you're asking, I cracked CAT and MBA, my working. I couldn't understand what you are trying to ask. Okay, I will look at your question once again. Okay, I think I have understood whatever you are trying to say. Okay, so जो भी आपका नाम है, I will discuss this particular thing. I will look into your query after solving all the questions. ठीक है, just wait, be there in this session. Now, the first part is invested at 6%, second part is invested at 10%, and the third part at 1% per annum. Okay. So the interest in 1 year, simple interest in 1 year from each of these investments will be, let's write it, 6% of 3x, that is 0.18x, 10% of 5x, that is 0.5x, and 1% of 7x, that is 0.07x. Now, what will be the sum of the interest income in 1 year? The sum of these three, that is 0.75x, right? So he's able to get 0.75x in 1 year. In how many years will he be able to get 15x? So 1 year में 0.75x मिला है. So in 15 years he will be getting 15x divided by 0.75x. And if you do the calculation, it will give you an exact value of 20 years. Okay, so the answer of this question will be 20 years. Okay. Right? So Timothy, Daksh, and Meghadri, three of you have given a correct answer. Wonderful. I was expecting it from more number of students. Astha, Shubhra, Sandeep. Please pull up your socks and give me an answer for the last question of the day, question number 5. Now this question requires a slight amount of calculations. ठीक है ना? Question number 5. Okay. So CAT 2022 slot number 3. So CAT 2022 first, second, and third slot. We saw the question in each of the slots. So try and have a look at this question, all of you, and we'll discuss it in the like after 2 minutes. This is slightly calculative, so take 2 minutes and solve this. All right, so I've got answer from 4 students, and all of you are saying that answer is option D. That is wonderful, very good. So are you able to calculate the value of x percentage? Are you able to? If yes, obviously you must have calculated. So can you give me the value of x? Quickly write the value of x that you have obtained, and then I'll start with the discussion. Absolutely, Astha. Very good. So Neetu has an initial capital of 20,000, out of which She invested 8,000 at 5.5 percentage, 5,000 at 5.6 percentage, and the remaining X percentage in bank C, each rate being simple interest per annum. Her combined annual interest, so her combined annual interest, so पहले annual interest calculate कर लेते हैं. So 8,000, the rate of interest is 5.5 percentage. So what interest she will get from bank A? So bank A का interest कितना होगा? 5.5 percentage of 8,000. Meanwhile, you can write these values. From B, it will be 5.6 percentage of 5,000. And from C, it will be the remaining money. 8,000 and 5,000 is 13,000. 20,000 minus 13,000 is 7,000. So it will be X percentage of 7,000, right? So from bank A, the interest will be 5.5 percentage of 8,000. That will be 440 rupees. From bank B, 5.6 percentage of 5,000, it will be 280 rupees. And from C, X percentage of 7,000, it will be 70X. Okay. So the sum of these three, that is 720 plus 70X is equal to something. So let's see. Her combined annual interest income from these investments is equal to 5% of initial capital. Initial capital was 20,000. So 5% of 20,000 will be 1,000. So now I can equate it to 1,000 and get the value of X. So X will be 280 upon 70, that is 4. Okay. So in bank C, the rate of interest given was 4%. Right. Now, further, the question is asking if she had invested the entire initial capital in bank C alone, then her annual interest income would have been how much? So it will be 4% of 20,000. And that's it. You can do the calculation. 20,000 ka 4% will come out to be 800, and 800 will be the correct answer of this question. Okay. So friends, you must start believing the fact that simple interest, compound interest, first of all, is not a difficult chapter. In fact, it is one of the easiest, easiest topics that you will see. Okay. Also, the level of difficulty of questions in CAT examination is not very high. You have seen in the first two questions, especially in the questions that appeared in CAT 2023, the questions look difficult. Okay, the questions were lengthy, the questions were bulky, so they were looking difficult, but they were actually not that difficult. All right, so these were the 5 questions in the last 2 years of CAT examination. In my next session of arithmetic, I will be discussing questions from simple interest, compound interest only, which have come before CAT 2022. So CAT 21, CAT 20, CAT 19, and so on. Okay, so I will conduct one more session on the questions of simple interest, compound interest. Meanwhile, you can revise these questions, you can revise the concepts of simple interest, compound interest, and be prepared for the next session. All right. So friends, that is all from my side for the day. In case you have any query, if you have any question, please do ask me. If you are struggling with any topic, if you are struggling with any of the areas of quantitative ability or logical reasoning data interpretation, please mention it in the chat box, and I'll try to conduct a separate session covering that particular area that is being requested by you. All right. So thank you very much for being a part of this session. Thank you for such a lovely audience. Thank you for responding to most of the questions that I was asking. All the very best to all of you. Please do subscribe our channel and do like this session and share this session with your friends and family. Keep watching these sessions. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.